This is Literature Hub 247, a free online literature class. This video is about an African prose titled Redemption Road, written by Elma Shaw. Earlier on this channel, we have discussed the plot summary of Redemption Road as well as chapter 1 of the novel. This is chapters 2 and 3 of Redemption Road. Let's go into the classroom. This is chapter 2. Moses Fanning, in the company of his driver, who doubles as his bodyguard, is at the Temple of Justice. This Moses Fanning is one of the major characters in the novel, and we're still going to read more about him later. The driver parks the Pajero, and Vanny fixes his eyes on a sticker on the dashboard that reads, "In the course of the people, the struggle continues," quote unquote. It is the slogan of President Doe and his party in the days following the 1980 coup. He gets out of the vehicle quickly towards the courthouse, as there's no time to waste. He has to save some lives. He catches the attention of a group of teenage boys near the courthouse parking. They hail him and rush at him, where his driver, bodyguard, tries to drive them away. Vanny stops him, says they are his boys, and the boys shake hands with Vanny. One of the boys is Simeon, and the smallest one is Alfonso. He recognizes the others, but cannot remember their names. Vanny feels for the boys because he understands what it's like to be young, displaced, and unemployed. When he was 11 years old, he lost his parents in an accident in a minibus traveling from Saniki to Monrovia. After the accident, he was sent to Monrovia to live with his uncle, while his mother's sister took his two younger sisters. It was a time Vanny didn't like to reminisce about. He then thinks about the boys' lives and vows that things are going to change. He tells the boy that he will not forget them and walks away. His thoughts now shift to the people in the Temple of Justice. He bemoans the decadence in a society where there is no justice. He remembers his day. They used to call for justice, but nowadays people call for peace. He's trying to compare his days. That time they used to that they used to call for justice, but nowadays people used to call for peace. He concludes that there can never be true peace in Liberia until there is equality for the masses. No justice, no peace. That is, where people have the same rights. That is when there can be peace. He posits that people rise to liberate themselves, though it might be difficult, but not impossible. Vanny enters the Temple of Justice and goes to the judiciary wing. He stops in front of a large door and hesitates before knocking on the door, with the determination that it is time for the struggle to end. That is chapter 2. Now chapter 3. This is about Bendu back to the office after the 10 years remembrance of Granny May, her grandmother. We read that in chapter 1. Bendu goes back to work after her grandmother's memorial service. She gets out of the taxi after paying the driver $10 Liberian notes. She's thankful that despite the economic downturn, the exchange rate stands at $50 Liberian to $1 US. She compares the smell of the sewage on the streets with the smell of the rotting bodies on the streets after the war. Life is back at Broad Street. Banks, ministries, office buildings, and informal settings mark their presence on the streets. She expresses her love for Monrovia, where she was born and bred. She casts her mind back to the mess she met on her return. That is, when she returned from Duluma, where she was captured after the war. The telephone wires and cables were destroyed, buildings were riddled with bullets, and decayed human bodies littered the streets. Broad Street was frightful that she couldn't believe she could now run a non-governmental organization where such things happened. Bendu finally arrived in the white building that houses the NGO, Peace in Practice. That is her NGO. The reception is decorated with different posters. She paused in front of the posters as usual to put her mind to work. Taylor has been battling with rebels for 2 years. That is making reference to Charles Taylor, the president of Liberia then. Taylor has been battling with rebels for 2 years. Out of the 4 years he has been on the throne. The fear of the war reaching Monrovia gripped everybody. Agnes Jala, the PIP co-director, is already arranging for a group counseling session. She is of Bendu's age, but is not educated beyond high school. Bendu insists that she be given the post because of her passion for the work. Agnes delivers Calvin's message after the greet. She says maybe he was looking for Bendu since he didn't talk about the center. Calvin is Bendu's friend. They have sponsored a program together. Since Agnes knew him, she has been trying to bring the two of them together. This hasn't yielded any result as Calvin doesn't have time to listen to Agnes. So Agnes is trying to bring them together as lovers. Bendu tells Agnes as she proceeds to her office that Calvin is considering giving them money. She asks that if he's looking for something else, he will find it in another place. Agnes, who stands at the door, tells Bendu that Calvin is a nice man and should give him a chance. Bendu agrees with Agnes that he is handsome and nice, but says there are other things to consider. Agnes advises Bendu not to allow herself to be affected by her past. Bendu, sitting at her desk with a cup of tea, responds that they should learn from the past. Agnes advises her further to forget about the death of Jonah, her former fiancé, as it was the will of God. She says she will think about it as Agnes left for her office. Bendu sips her tea and her thoughts shift to Jonah. She thinks whether it's Jonah's past that is scaring her away from a new relationship. She says losing her first love is like dying. She compares Jonah with the one in the Bible who avoids his duty to God, who avoids his duty to God's people but ends up in the belly of a whale. This is a biblical allusion used by the author here. Instead of being diplomatic in his struggle, he gives public lectures and leads open demonstrations against injustices in Liberia. Bendu loves him for his fearlessness and is motivated by his passion. When she met Jonah, everybody approved of their relationship except her mother, who said she was too young. Bendu's father also accepted, but did not like the enthusiasm he showed for Terence Clark, the husband of Seattle. Jonah died of an unknown cause 2 months before the wedding. Bendu picked up a framed photo of their engagement party and started reading the meaning to his posture. She afterward pulled the photo back on her desk. Her thoughts shift back to Calvin. He was Benji's best friend and he witnessed his mother in the 1980 coup. That is, Calvin is Benji's best friend. Benji is Bendu's brother. It's telling us that Calvin witnessed the murder of Benji in the 1980 coup. She shakes her head and feels like putting things together for the day's work. At exactly 10 a.m., Calvin knocks at her office door. He's a tall man with dark eyes. He has salt and pepper hair. Bendu tells him that she's expecting someone else, that she has an interview, and asks if they could talk later. Bendu doesn't know here that Calvin has come to interview her, that he is the one sent by the word Jonah to come and interview her. Calvin moves closer to her, kisses her on her cheeks, and gives her a business card. Calvin has gotten a freelance contract with Word Jonah. He will cover Liberia, Guinea and Sierra Leone for political stories mostly, and occasionally NGO. he has come to interview Bendu. As Calvin set up his gadget, Bendu contemplates his writing a fair and balanced story, being a friend and a donor to the NGO. He's contemplating whether Calvin will be able to write a balanced story because of their relationship. He's a friend and at the same time a donor to our NGO. Calvin just smiles and Bendu advises not to let that go to his head. Bendu is happy that the center will be featured in World Journal, which is a reputable magazine. Calvin is also one of the best writers around. The local newspapers are full of useless stories. The magazine will help in projecting the image of the center. Individuals and organizations could come to their aid. Toward the end of the interview, Calvin asked about the obstacles of the program. Bendu says the major problem is getting some women to open up about what happened to them. She explains further that you don't force them to speak, but advise them to learn from those who are courageous to speak out. At a stage, Calvin pauses and asks Bendu about her own story. Bendu responds that the interview is not about her. Calvin then asks her how she became involved in her work and how it changed her. Bendu answers that she just wants to help war-affected women and says she learns from them every day. She gives Calvin the press packet she has prepared. Bendu stands up and says they have been talking for quite a while. Calvin, who also says he has spent much time with her. Bendu shakes his hand and says she's looking forward to reading his article. Calvin asks if he could come if he needs any information. Bendu replies that he will be able to read them by phone the following day. Calvin then asks if he could call her for a date. Bendu says, big time, quote unquote, and playfully pushes him out of the door. That is, she pushes Calvin out of the door. Bendu decides to go and join the group counseling session because if she were in her office, she'd just be thinking about her story. So that is chapters 2 and 3 of Redemption Road. So if you are new on this channel, try and click on the subscribe button so that you'll be part of this class. You can also click on the bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever any video is released. Like this video, you are free to share it on any social media platform. If you have any question, just send it through the message box there. Or if you need any of our previous videos, you can just request for the link to the message box and it will be rightly sent to you. I wish you best of luck. Let's meet in the next class.